Salve! In this video, I'd like to talk with you about the Alphabetum Latinum, or the Latin alphabet. You will see that the traditional Roman alphabet consists of 23 letters. Letters in Latin are called elementa, the plural of elementum, or you could call them litterae. I say that there are between 23 and 25 letters in the Latin alphabet because the monks in the Middle Ages added 2 letters, the letter J and the letter U. They were to distinguish between when I was a vowel sound, in other words an I sound, or when it was making a consonant sound, like a Y sound. So they put a little tail on it, and as a matter of fact they called it I with a tail on it, I caudata. And they rounded out the V shape to make a U for the vowel sound, and they kept the V for the consonant sound W. So here you see a passage that is traditionally read for rounds in Certamen. Certamen in high school Latin circles is the spoken Latin quiz bowl competition. It's not always spoken Latin, but there's mythology and other things as well, but usually it's primarily about Latin. In order to learn the professor's pronunciation, you hear this passage read. I use what's called the restored pronunciation, and here's how it sounds. Aurelia, cui urbs placebat, erat in Aegypto, cum familia sua ingenti, et equo suo. Tredecim ludos magnos Jovis in amphitheatro Alexandriae spectabat. Teende, equus iratus domum recurre coipet. Eheu, ecce sciurus. So you can hear in the restored pronunciation, just about every letter is pronounced with its primitive sound. So AU, even though it's a diphthong, or one sound made out of multiple vowels, you can hear that the A is followed by the U to make the OW sound. You also heard in this first line that C in the restored pronunciation is always pronounced K. As a matter of fact, all of the letters have their hard pronunciation. They never soften in the restored pronunciation. That's why in the second line you see Aegypto. The G is pronounced like a hard G sound. Also in Aegypto, you see the diphthong AE, which is a typical Latin sound. You hear the A followed by the E sound, but it's pronounced I. Aegypto. Jovis I also placed using the J that the monks in the Middle Ages would have used to differentiate between when I was making the consonant sound Y and when it was making the vowel sound. And of course that's where we get the word Jove, Jovis. You notice that the PH is pronounced like a P with a breath after it, ampe, and the same is with the TH in teatro. And in the last line, you see the vowels OE that make the diphthong oi, coipit. And in the word eheu, you see the EU sound, eu. That's also a diphthong. I added the 2 words ecce sciurus because it also has a sound, not in the above example, that is interesting. So sciurus, because the C is always pronounced hard. Listen, though, to the difference when I read it using the ecclesiastical pronunciation, or what a lot of people call the church pronunciation or the Italian pronunciation. Aurelia, qui urbs placebat, erat in Aegypto, cum familia sua ingenti, et equo suo. Tredecim ludos magnos Jovis in amphitheatro Alexandriae spectabat. Dende, equus iratus domum recurre cepit. Eheu, ecce sciurus. Ecce sciurus. So you could hear that there are a lot of differences between the restored and the ecclesiastical, mainly through the softening of certain letters like the C and the G in front of the vowels E and I, and sometimes Y. But also that the diphthongs change their sound. So let's take a look. In the top line, we read placebat because the C followed by an E or an I softens, makes a ch sound, just like in Italian. Same thing in Egypto. The G is softened because it's followed by the vowel sound Y. But the AE, the diphthong that in restored pronunciation was I, is now pronounced E, Egypto. Also, what's interesting, in the fourth line, you see the word manios. The GN is kind of like the GN in the word lasagna. It has more of a nya sound than any G sound at all. Manios. The V is pronounced just like in English when you pronounce Jovis. Amphitheatro, the PH is pronounced like an F, though TH is T sound with the aspiration after it, the breath sound. The COE in the last line actually is pronounced chepit because the OE diphthong is E in the ecclesiastical pronunciation. The C softens in front of the E sound, chepit. Then finally, in the last two words that I wanted to show you, etche, the double C sound in front of an E or an I is held extra long, kind of fun. And then shiurus, the SC in front of an I or an E is pronounced like an English SH, shiurus. I typically use the restored pronunciation, that's the first one, because it's easier for me to remember the spelling. I encourage you to choose a pronunciation that suits you best and suits your interests best. This is something that I didn't have when I was learning Latin because of the strange number of letters in the Latin alphabet. It's hard to fit it in the traditional alphabet song. So some friends of mine put together an alphabet song that is somewhat based on the traditional, but there's a slight twist to it. And here's what it looks like. And I'll sing it. A, B, K, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, X, Y, Z, haec sunt elementa quae possumus recitare, visne nobis cum cantare. So you could see here, this is how you spell the Roman letters. H is called ha, because it's just considered a breath in Latin, not even considered a letter. K is called ka, probably because it's borrowed from Greek kappa. L-M-N-O-P, no surprise there. Q-R-S-T-U, no surprise, except there is no V in the traditional Roman alphabet. X, Y, because Y is a Greek letter, epsilon, so we call it Y. Zeta, which is also a Greek letter, zeta, retains its name from the Greek. Finally, we add the words haec sunt elementa. These are the letters. Quae possumus recitare, which we are able to sing in that order. Quae, which, possumus, we are able, recitare, to recite. Visne nobis cum cantare. Do you want, that's the visne, cantare, to sing nobis cum, with us. Well, that's it about the Roman alphabet, and I hope you found this helpful.